Hi, this is Tom Fulmer, and welcome to the National Drug Screening Video Blog Series. The topic of this 5-part series is going to be Designated Employer Representative Training, also known as DER. It also may be referenced as Drug and Alcohol Program Manager. The 5 parts of this series are going to focus on 1, the selection of service agents and their roles in assisting you in managing your testing program. Number 2, development of your drug-free workplace policy and distribution to your employees and to your supervisors. Then the 3rd part will be focused on implementation of the actual training necessary for supervisors in the drug testing process. Part 4 is going to focus on the management of drug and alcohol testing, the requirements, things you must do, things you must not do in that part of the process. And then Part 5 is going to discuss accurate record keeping, maintenance of records, and also what to do in the case of audit situations. Today we're going to be talking about part 1 of our video series, which is for the Designated Employer Representative, which is selection of service agents and their roles within your organization. So first thing is defining what is a service agent and then why they can help you. A service agent is anyone who assists you who's not employed by your company in the drug and alcohol testing process. That might be your TPA, your third-party administrator, your consortium or random program manager. It might be your medical review officer. It might be your laboratory, your substance abuse professional, the drug and alcohol collector. These are all service agents that are going to be involved in the process. Some of the roles they take on you may be doing internally. Others you're going to be contracting out. And it's very important that you select the right people in these processes because no matter what happens with any of your service agents, as an employer, by law, you're the one that's always going to be responsible. So if you have a service agent that doesn't do their job, it's going to come back to you. So you have roles to not only select good agents, but also to oversee that process. So let's talk about a few of the things that these different service agents may do for you. A third-party administrator may simply administer your drug testing selection process for your random program. But that TPA or third-party administrator may also do all other aspects except for the role of DER, which obviously is your role. That might include scheduling the laboratory testing, providing a system for record keeping and results reporting. That might be providing the MRO services, which can go through a TPA. Also setting up your lab accounts, training and setting up the collectors, auditing your collection sites to make sure that all the collectors are trained. So your TPA can do all or just part of those things. Now, even though the TPA may do those things, it's very important that they are working with the correct people, such as the medical review officer. The medical review officer is the one that's going to be responsible for reviewing your non-negative test results that come from the lab. In other words, any positive results confirmed from the lab, they're going to review those. They're going to contact your donors, your employees. They're going to verify prescriptions. They're going to evaluate the job descriptions for those individuals and see if there's any safety concerns. So for instance, if someone is driving a truck, they're a truck driver, they have a commercial driver's license, they're part of a DOT testing program, and they test positive for opioids. Well, maybe that's a legitimate prescription. The medical review officer reviews that prescription, determines it's a legal prescription, but they look at that job description and say, well, maybe I have some concerns. So they'll actually take the steps to get in touch with the employee's physician, discuss that with them. If they have no safety concern, they will issue a negative result. If they do have a safety concern, they're then going to notify you as the employer. But then what do? Well, that's one of the things a medical review officer can help you with, help you figure out what your next steps are. And there's other parts of that process they can assist you with. Another important part of this testing process that's very integral to testing in general is the collector. The collector is really a big key in any good drug testing program. If the collector makes some mistakes, doesn't check the temperature, doesn't check the specimen, doesn't complete the form correctly, doesn't send things into the lab correctly, all of these things can result in canceled tests or other issues, delays in the testing process that may cause you to lose good qualified people. It may result in somebody who's actually on drugs out driving a company vehicle or doing a safety sensitive function, flying an airplane. Any of these things can happen if the collection process doesn't go smoothly. So having good collectors is an essential part of that. And it's up to you as the DER to make sure that happens. Even if you're relying on a TPA, for instance, to be able to monitor that, it's still ultimately up to you. Other service agents you're going to interact with potentially are going to be your substance abuse professional. Very key when you have a positive result that comes back from the laboratory. It's confirmed positive by the medical review officer. Now you have to take action. If this is a federal test, you're required to refer that person to a substance abuse professional, which means you need to have somebody that you know you can trust to handle that situation, properly communicate with you, properly communicate with the TPA or whoever else they need to within that process. So these are just some of the service agents and an overview of the roles that they play and how integral they are to your drug and alcohol program being a successful program. So make sure you tune back into the rest of our series. In our next series of videos, we're going to be talking about your drug and alcohol workplace policy, how to put it together, how to implement it, things to address, and then also how to make sure you get it to your employees correctly. So thanks for joining us, and see more great videos on our blog at the National Drug Screening blog, www.nationaldrugscreening.com, and just click on video blog. We also have a great search functionality. Click on the magnifying glass and you can search for any item that's related to drug testing and find some of the best answers out there in the industry. Thanks for joining us. We'll see you next time.